All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you like NSX seats, specifically Type R seats, you're gonna want to tune into this one. All right, first off, big thank you to Eugene and Harry for letting me borrow their seats. 2 are from Eugene, 2 are from Harry, my 2 buddies that have NSXs here in Southern California. And we are doing what I believe has never been done before, which is comparing all of these seats. And believe it or not, all 4 of them are different seats. So at first glance, 3 of them might look the same. One of them kind of stands out. But all 4 of them are different. And the more you look at them, the more you'll be able to probably figure out what's what. Let me give you a close look from left to right. All right. So what do we have here? We're doing a NSX Type R style seat comparison. However, not all of them are replicas. One of these is an authentic NSX Type R seat. Eugene showed up with a authentic Type R seat and a Mita Motorsports sport seat. So Mita Motorsports, if you're not familiar with Mita, you should be. They make a lot of NSX parts and help us import them in the United States as well. They make 2 different types of NSX style seats that they just came out with in 2024. One is a sport seat and one is a premium seat. I'll get into the differences. I only have one of their seats here, and it is the sport seat, so it is the cheaper one. And then, so that's 2 of those seats here. I have authentic Type R seat, a Mita Motorsports sport seat. I have a Downforce seat. Downforce is a aftermarket aero parts company for the NSX. They usually make fiberglass and carbon fiber exterior parts for the NSX. And fourth is a Recaro ABE seat. So can you guess which one's which? Sound off in the comments below. Recaro ABE, Type R, authentic Type R, Downforce replica seat, and Mita Motorsports replica seat, the sport version. All right, so without further ado, let's just take a closer look again. So I showed you the headrests already. Let's go down. Let's look at the bottom cushions and the seatbelt holes. There's the first one. There's the second one. There's the third one. And there's the fourth one. And let's look at the fabric. So here's up close look. Fabric of the fourth one. Fabric of the third one. Fabric of the second one. And fabric of the first one. Okay, I will stop the suspense because you're probably annoyed at this point. The first one is the Recaro ABE. If you got that right, give yourself a pat on the back. The way you can tell is that it has a rounded headrest as opposed to these other ones. So these 3 on the right are all, I believe, exact copies of the Type R seat. Well, one is an actual Type R, but you get what I mean, okay? Exact shell, they have the same, they should have the exact same shell, these 3. This one is different. Recaro ABE, this is a pole position ABE, so it's the road legal version of the pole position. Pole position, they make 2 different, well maybe, I can't remember if there's 3, but there's the FIA version and the ABE version. The ABE is wider at the hip points, and these belt holes are a lot bigger and positioned in a different space, a different spot on the seat. So these are wider, meant to work with like a stock seat belt, the rigid mount, whereas the FIA pole positions are narrower and meant to work with like a 4-point or 5-point harness or 6-point harness. So what is this? This is Harry's Recaro ABE, and this is reupholstered. So actually, even though this is an ABE shell, you can tell by the black fiberglass back, he purchased the Studio 60 fabric. So if you're not familiar with Studio 60, They are the company that has come out in recent years, famously built by legends, and I believe Mita is working with them as well. And they are supposedly the people that supplied and maybe reupholstered or upholstered the original Honda Golden Era seats. So the NSX Type R seats, the original NSX Type R seats, original Integra Type R seats, seats like that. So this fabric that they're providing, that you can contact them directly and purchase from them, is supposedly the OEM fabric that you would have gotten when you purchased a Type R in Japan from NSX. So this is what Harry spec'd for his ABE. It came with a completely different, he bought his ABE brand new, came with a completely different, typical black velour cover, and he spec'd this cover which uses the OEM fabric, and he was able to get the Recaro logo on there. They're not doing that anymore, from what I understand. But also this is an authentic Recaro ABE, so it also makes sense that he keeps the Recaro logo on there. So that's this one. This one is an ABE. It does have a crotch point hole in the bottom. The next seat is a Mita Motorsports sport seat. So as I mentioned before, Mita Motorsports makes two different versions of their seat. One is a $1,000 budget seat, and another is their premium seat, which I do not have here. Their premium seat also uses authentic fabric, Honda fabric from, I believe, Studio 60. This seat, though, the sports seat, uses a slightly different fabric. So if I were to compare them side by side, you can see that the OEM fabric has kind of like a black, has like a two-layer kind of thing going on, where there's like a black backing. This one does not. It's all red. It's a slightly different shade of red. Very hard for you guys to see. In the video, this looks a little orangey, a little less shiny. This has a little bit more of a sheen to it. And if you look at the center perforations, these perforations are small. These perforations are a lot larger. And it comes with a black fiberglass backing. So this shell is, again, I believe a direct copy off of the Type R seat itself. So it has this ribbing design on the back, whereas the ABE does not. All these three seats to my right side, all the backings all look like this. So close up. Again, the sports seat is a $1,000 seat. It's the budget option. This is spec'd with the Mita logo on the front instead of the Recaro logo. I believe you cannot get the Recaro logo on these anymore, which is how I would order it. In my opinion, I would not want to put a Recaro logo on a non-Recaro seat. But yeah, so since this is not OEM fabric, there's going to be differences in quality. It remains to be seen, which one's gonna, how the Mita sports seats, how long it's gonna last, the quality-wise. Of course, you expect a OEM quality fabric to last a very long time. The Mita Motorsports fabric sports seat, I am not sure. They've only released this probably in the last 6 months or so. But here you can take a look at the quality. I will pull each seat out individually later on and do a 360 around them. You can check out all the details. This skin, Harry did get shipped from Japan, and he installed it himself. So there will be some variances because on the seat that Eugene got, the Type R seat, he got the fabric also brand new from Studio 60, but he had a local guy install them. So without further ado, we have the last two. So you can probably guess which is which. I'll go with this one first then. This is the Downforce seat. The color is kind of pinkish, kind of magenta. Don't know if it looks like that in the camera, but that's how it looks in real life. And I believe this is like an early generation Downforce seat. They made different generations. Again, I believe it's the same shell. It has the wide hip points, just like the OEM seat. And this one is spec'd with all kind of like a suede fabric. So no, obviously no perforations. On the back is a Kevlar shell with the ribbing design. Last but not least is the authentic Type R seat. So Eugene sourced this seat through Robert Mexi-Ricer, and of course these seats are very hard to come by. The fabrics are usually not in the greatest shape, especially if you're searching for a more budget option on the auction block. You can probably find a perfect pair of Type R seats for anywhere from like 20 to 30 grand. Whereas you can find like a seat that a pair that needs work, may have some holes in it, may have a bunch of wear marks, may have a bunch of stains. You may find that for like 10 to 20 grand for a set, for a pair. Okay, so let's just call one seat like anywhere from 6 to 7 grand to 8 to 10 grand per seat, depending on condition. Okay. And as far as I know, I'm not an expert, but Type S and Type R seats, the shell, I believe, are the same. It's just that the fabric is different. So Type S seats came with like a leather outside and a suede inside, or Alcantara center, and Type R seats came like this. So I believe Eugene got one Type R and one Type S seat. And they were in poor condition, so he had Robert contact Studio 60 in order to get brand new skins, just like Harry did for his ABE. So Eugene got brand new skins, OEM fabric from Studio 60. So you can see that the quality of the fabric is just like Harry's. It's the exact same fabric from Studio 60 with the Recaro logo on it. Same perforations. Actually, I'm noticing that the perforations are actually square as opposed to round over here. But yeah, so Harry's is square as well, so it's the same, but it's just pointing out that they're square, not round. So yeah, so this is an authentic Type R setup, basically brand new except for the shell. So if you go to the back, it does have the Kevlar shell with the ribbing. So yeah, I'm really excited to kind of compare and do a deep dive into these seats. I'm going to be showing you guys up close, look at the fabric, how everything's mounted, how the fabric's secured to the seat, the quality of the fabrics. I'm going to sit in them, even though these three are pretty much all the same. Compare how they feel, compare the weights. You might be surprised at that one. I already weighed them, so I know what's going on with the weights. And just get my overall impression. And if I can, I'm going to try to mount one in my car and see how it feels compared to my Stradias. But essentially, I wanted to look at the seats and just kind of give everyone a comparison between the 4 different options that are kind of widely available in recent times. The Downforce seat is not available anymore. I believe probably the next kind of seat that would come into place come to mind is the KSP seat. So KSP makes a Type R replica seat. So basically these seats you can find, these 2 seats, the ABE and the Mita, you can definitely find brand new right now. Of course, you have to reupholster the ABE, whereas the Mita is available in this configuration already. Type R seats / Type S you have to find used. They're not available brand new anymore. You have to find them on the auction block. And Downforce is just not available, but I think KSP might take you can substitute KSP. Basically, there's still 4 options. I don't know of anyone else that makes an exact copy. that's this close. Again, the ABE is probably the one that deviates the most in terms of shell design and shape, but it's actually very, very, very close. If you look at these two right here, pretty much the slight roundness of the top of the headrest and the size of the lap belt holes is what set them apart, along with the shell design on the back. But if they had the same lap belt size holes, and you probably 9 out of 10 people wouldn't be able to tell the difference because they wouldn't notice that slight bit of curvature on the headrest compared to the real Type R seat. So let's go ahead and get into the weights of each of these, and then I will go ahead and do a roundabout of each one individually. All right, and first up on the scale is the Downforce seat. And don't worry, I zeroed out the scale after I put that plastic cover on. The plastic cover is helping the seat stay up. So we're looking at 15 pounds, 11.1 ounces. And for you, those of you on the metric system, 7.121 kilograms. And the authentic Type R seat comes in at 11 pounds, 14.7 ounces, or 5.407 kilograms. And the Mita Motorsports sports seat comes in at 13 pounds, 13.6 ounces, and 6.285 kilograms. And the Recaro ABE seat comes in at 17 pounds, 10.5 ounces, or 8.011 kilograms. Okay, so for those of you keeping score, the Recaro ABE is the heaviest at 17 pounds. And funny enough, 2 pounds separates each of these seats. So the Downforce seat being 2 pounds lighter than this one, the Mita seat being 2 pounds lighter than the Downforce, and the R seat being 2 pounds lighter than the Mita seat. The R seat being 11 pounds. Why is this the heaviest? I don't know exactly, but my theory is that this Recaro ABE is, again, sanctioned for German roads. So it's legal for street use in a lot of Europe, I believe. And, seats need to be stronger when they're, especially for 2024, 2025, right? The Type R seats were made back in the first year Type R is 92. So probably designed in 91, 90, 1990, somewhere around then. Safety standards were a lot different back then. This seat does have less flex in it. I sat in each one of these along with Harry and a couple other people, and this seat has decidedly less upper body flex, back flex in it. It probably has more layers of fiberglass, and it's probably in general just stronger and safer. Again, which you would expect in a modern age seat. So, whether the weight savings matters to you, that's up to you. Personally, I'd probably go for a, weigh safety a lot in regards to seats. But anyway, let's take a look at the seat itself. Again, ABE has a rounded headrest, and these openings are very, very large compared to the Type R seat. Let's go ahead and bring a Type R seat over. So we have the Type R seat right here. You can see the hole for the seatbelt is a lot smaller than the hole for the ABE seat. If you want to guesstimate, it's about inch and 3/4 opening, whereas the ABE has just about another inch, about 2 3/4 inch, or somewhere around 40 millimeter opening, Type R, and something like 70-ish millimeters for the ABE. You'll notice that from the profile view, the seatbelt openings are in slightly different spots. The opening, since being that the ABE opening being a lot bigger, allows it to extend further down. You can kind of tell that the upper point of the opening is almost in the same spot, but just because the ABE opening is so much bigger, it extends a lot further down. Looking at the backs, you can tell that, of course, there's no ribbing on the ABE seat, but when it comes to the OEM fabric, these seats are built very, very similarly. The opening, I'm not sure what the differences are between these two right here. Well, actually, I can see it right now, actually. This plastic cover on the ABE is fatter than this one, which is the reason why you can see this black liner on the fabric. So this fabric, the way it attaches is it goes through the hole, and I think it's kind of like glued down onto the skin itself. And then this plastic cover is just set as like a finisher slash like a method to keep that fabric from lifting and going back in through the hole. So you can see here that this is a lot thicker than this guy right here, which is why you cannot see, you can only see, just barely see that black liner that exists on this one. So there's a difference there. Otherwise, they are slightly different. They're different in amount of padding as well. The ABE has more padding. It looks like it has padding behind the headrest. The Type R does not. Otherwise, they're built very close. The ABE does have a crotch hole for harnesses. The NSX Type R does not. The Type R, in contrast, does have holes for mounting power rails. So I'm not sure, I need to bust out the rails later, but there's holes here, and then there's two smaller holes closer together on this side. Those are for the switches. So overall, it looks like this seat is built very similarly to the R. This cushion even sticks out very similarly to the R, as you can see right here. But again, one of the differences you're going to find is on the bottom, where you'll find that harness hole. Also, when it comes to the fabric, when you buy this fabric from Studio 60, it does come with all the padding. So you do not need to reuse any of the padding. They provide it for you. And you can spec if you want more or less padding. So it's pretty customizable. You don't even have to go with this configuration. You can go with, if you want this fabric all over, you can go with that. If you want this fabric all over, you can go with that. There are different options. They have the kind of the full suede option without holes, I believe. So check them out. I believe you have to communicate with them in broken English or Japanese, but it's doable. There's been plenty of guys that have gotten their seats done with them. It is not cheap. I believe it's anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 per seat skin. But if you want OEM fabric, brand new, that's probably going to be the best place to get it from. All right, looking at the Mita sports seat, right away, it is a budget option. So it's a tough comparison to OEM fabric, right? Like obviously a $1,000 seat is gonna kind of pale in comparison to a $10,000 seat or what is that now? Like a $3,000 or $4,000 seat, maybe $3,000 seat. I think ABE probably goes for $1,000 to $1,500, maybe $2,000, probably $1,500 average a seat, plus another $1,000 to $1,500 for the seat skin. So that's like a $3,000 seat, just about. This is $1,000 all in. So yes, there are going to be some aspects to this seat that are going to be lower quality. You know, the fabric does feel a little thin. The material does feel good to the touch, but whether it lasts is a question. You can tell that it's slightly rough around the edges. There's just little bits that kind of stick up. There's like little wrinkles here. There's a wrinkle here. There's a wrinkle here. So you look at how taut that seat is, right? There's a wrinkle here. There's a wrinkle here. You know, you look on the back. There's glue marks where they glue the fabric down. Like I was telling you guys before, underneath this cover, this is kind of just like a finisher cover. Underneath this cover, the fabric should be glued down. And the black shell is just, you know, this is how it came. The seat's brand new. So you get what you pay for. By no means is this seat terrible. I think for $1,000 is actually a pretty darn good value, considering like the only cheaper seats are either, you know, that are brand new are probably, you know, any other China seat, Taiwan seat that you can think of, that probably has worse quality fabric on it. So that's not me advocating for, again, the quality of this fabric, because I have no idea. I just have, you know, I've had it for a couple days now, that's it. Or the quality of the safety of this seat. I have no idea, you know, the construction of it. But, you know, for what it is, if you're out there shopping for a replica seat, meaning it's, you know, a non-Recaro, non-Sparco, non-bridge seat, that from a company that does not know how to make FIA spec seats, then it's probably coming out of a China or Taiwan factory, and the quality, and it's not been safety tested, bottom line. So if you're into that, that's fine. More power to you. No judgments, but this seat for $1,000 is not bad. So, you know, it is what it is. You are in charge of your wallet and your purchases and your decisions. So I'm just here to present the facts and present, well, the facts as I see them and my opinions as well. So fact is that it doesn't look as good as a $3,000 seat or a $10,000 seat, but that's to be expected. So again, the shell is an exact copy of the Type R as far as I know. So you're not going to see any harness hole in the bottom, and it's going to have just the 2 holes. So it's not going to have the holes for the power rails though. So you're going to have to use just regular manual rails on it. And of course this is, so this, again, this seat skin is not made by Studio 60. So this is made by Mita's in-house guys. So that's why this is going to look different too, as opposed to this or this. So there's going to be slight differences. This is just a, you know, threading for your seat rails, and this is just a rev nut in each side. You know, there's a little bit of padding sticking out there. Again, this is brand new, just freshly delivered from Mita Motorsports. Let me touch a little bit on their premium seat. Their premium seat should be a lot better. Also, I spoke about the premium fabric being the same Studio 60 fabric. The shell is actually a carbon Kevlar shell, which I didn't mention before. So the premium seat does not have the black fiberglass shell. It does have a Kevlar shell. I am going to say that I don't think these seats are solid Kevlar. I could be wrong, meaning the Type R seat. And I'm betting that the Mita premium seat is not solid Kevlar either. Typically, Brit as well. The seats are fiberglass with a layer or two of Kevlar for the looks. I could be completely wrong. I didn't do that research right now. Anyway, that's it for the Mita seat. I think we're gonna move on. The padding is OEM style. There's no padding behind the headrest. There's a thin padding on the headrest. These pads right here are not nearly as thick as what's provided from Studio 60 or Recaro. And you know, only time will tell again how long this will hold up, but I think it's a good budget option. All right, I'm not gonna spend too much time on the Downforce seat since it's not available anymore, but for those of you looking at seats, these occasionally come up on the used market and they do go for quite a bit, I think. Not as much as Type R seats, of course, but they go for probably more than the Mita Sport seat. So let's take a look. This seat's a little funky in the color. Again, it's kind of magenta color, pinkish. Hard to tell on camera, but you can see that it's a different shade than all these other red seats. This one's really old and dusty, but same shell as the other Type R seats. The opening's pretty much the same. The Kevlar in the back looks nice, a little wavy, you can see, but it has a nice shine to it. These look like the thinner version, like the OEM Type R, as opposed to the ABE, thick ABE one that you can't see right now. But yeah, no padding behind the headrest, just like OEM. Padding does feel thicker than Mita. So it feels pretty decent, but yeah, there's no padding. There's not even very much padding on the headrest. Probably very, very thin. I can touch the fiberglass right here as I push in. The bottom cushion's decent, but yeah, nothing much more to say about that one. I am going to sit in each of them and tell you guys about the backrest angle after I review each one of these seats individually. All right, so here is the Type R seat. I'm not gonna spend too much time on the fabric because I spent a lot of time on Harry's ABE seat. It's the exact same fabric. It's the OEM fabric. So it looks good. It looks slightly different than Harry's as far as fitment, because Eugene and Robert had a local guy install it. So Harry is very meticulous with his installations as far as his seats go. He loves his interiors and his seats. He probably spent hours on this. He said it was kind of challenging. This one, you know, has like a crease in the middle, but probably just needs some adjustment. You can see here, this little, I don't know if this has to do with how it was made though. Yeah, I think this is kind of not ideal. It's not bad. But the fitment of it looks okay. Looks decent. What else can we say about it? Yeah, I mean, it looks good. The stitching, I forget what Harry calls this kind of stitching, but looks good. The padding is nice. So let's flip it over. So the back is Kevlar, and as you can see, it's a little matte. It could probably use a good polish. Eugene's two seats came very different. That's what happens on the used market. But overall, it looks pretty good. The weave looks pretty straight. It's not perfect, but it's better than the Downforce seat. And of course, there is no hole on the bottom for harness, like I said, just some hole provisions for some plastic clips, probably for the power rail wiring. And again, here's a look at the holes for the switches. So I believe, again, I should have busted it out before this video, but I believe the side with these two holes, threaded holes, is for the switch. So I think this is a right side seat, which is a JDM driver side whereas other side has 2 holes over here spread out. I'm not sure what that's for. Again, I'll have to look at the rails. But you can tell on the side that the fabric is slightly different than what's on Harry's ABE. Harry has a little bit more fabric on his coming through, whereas the Type R does not. Is more minimal. And you can tell here that one of the biggest differences, I guess I didn't mention it yet, is that on these seats, as well as the ABE, the reason why they are also meant for street, of course this is like OEM provided seat, right? But this is aftermarket ABE. But legal for the street is because these hip points are wider, meant for your seatbelt to go through. So of course your seatbelt receiver is hard mounted, and it's not floppy or anything like that because it's the front seat and it needs to go through. So this piece needs to come outwards in order for your seatbelt to go through, and not, it needs to basically come around your side and not jab you in the side. It needs to come out straight as possible, right? So that's why this piece needs to come out. So if you look at it from the top, you can see that it goes wide right there, goes wide right there, allows for the seatbelts to go in. Aftermarket seats, like non-ABE seats, the FIA version of the pole position, for example, are just straight. It's way narrower right here. And that's because it's just meant for a harness, a racing harness, and not meant for the receiver to stick straight up. I'll show you what I mean when I try the receiver on each of these seats. So let's sit the seat right here. I'm going to sit up all the seats next to each other. We can compare the back angle and compare the seatbelt receiver in each one of these seats. Okay, I have the seats here. They're in a different order. I apologize. Type R seat, ABE, Mita Sport, Downforce. What I want to show you guys is the back angle. Each seat is flat on the ground, and the back angles are very much identical. Again, hard for you guys to see this, but I'm looking at the curvature of the backs, and they are very identical. Again, every seat except for the ABE, I'm pretty positive is an exact copy of the Type R seat. So you'd expect them to be the same. I don't see any modifications. So, but yeah, looking at it, the ABE headrest, no, never mind. The seat is just slightly tilted. I was gonna say the ABE headrest looked like it's slightly tilted back, but no, the seat was just slightly not all the way against the box. So you can see that these three that are lined up right now, the headrests look like they're in the exact same spot, exact same angle. And then from this angle, if you were to compare this line right here on each of these, it looks very, very similar. Slight, ever so slight difference in the ABE where it looks a little bit more concave, a little bit more curved. It might be, it's hard to tell. It feels very, very similar. When you sit in them, they feel very, very similar. Let me take a seat in them right now. All right, I apologize for the crop on the lens, on the shot. That's as good as it's gonna get. So let's sit in the Type R seat. It's gonna feel a little bit weird for me because in the car I would set it at a certain angle. But right now I'm just testing for how they feel compared to each other. And flex wise, again, I tested these all like this, and I can feel it flexing. I'll get a front view and show you the flex. Again, it's not gonna be an exact science because I may or may not be putting different amounts of pressure on each seat, but you're gonna have to take my word for it. It feels very similar. There's still some flex in the ABE. Similar, yep. Again, you're gonna expect all the Type R style seats to be similar, being molded off of the same shell. Yep. So let's go ahead and take a look at the flex. So you're gonna wanna look at the two shoulders. This is the Type R seat. You see the shoulders, wings flexing. This is the ABE. This is the Mita seat. And this is the Downforce seat. So I would say that the Downforce seat and the ABE seat probably feel like they have the least amount of flex, and that would make sense because those are the heaviest seats. Again, 17 pounds for the ABE seat, 15 for the Downforce, and then 13 for the Mita, and 11 for the Type R seat. All right, we're gonna do a quick comparison on the seatbelt receiver. So this is a Type R seatbelt receiver. It's supposed to be thinner at this point than an OEM non-Type R seat, and this part is longer. So it's supposed to mount through here to the rail, and due to this thick brand new padding, it kind of gets in the way, but this is how it's supposed to sit. So in the Type R seat, because as I mentioned, the hole is a lot smaller, this is a lot tighter fit as opposed to the ABE seat, where it kind of fits. And I'm judging it by, again, this is not an exact science, but I'm judging how far I can get this seat belt pointing straight up as opposed to this way. When it's this way, that's because there's too much padding in here, or the seat is not meant for this kind of seat belt, meaning like a pole position FIA. This would happen. So with a ABE, it can sit pretty straight up. With the Type R, it can sit straight up, but due to the thick padding, you would need to force it in and put some pressure on it. But it is available. The space is there. It's just the padding is substantial. I'm not sure how far it's supposed to stick through, but right there. I mean, I could push it further, straight up, but just to show you that it has the room for it. Again, on the pole position, you can tell, I barely have to push. It actually contacts the bottom of the shell more so in the seat, but there's more room available due to the larger hole. So it should fit pretty good on that. So I'm not going to test it out on the other seats because those shells are exactly the same as the Type R, but that gives you an idea of how the seatbelt should work. Because if you're not familiar, when people use regular bucket seats, non-ABE, or seats that don't have a wide point, like a Recaro SPG or pole position FIA or some other bucket seat, they tend to want to use a belt with a fabric piece right here, so it's flexible. Like you can use the back seat belt from European Integra Type R or some other seat belt that does fit from a 90s car. But that's the kind of downside to like a full bucket seat like this. All right, this is gonna be hard to show you guys and hard to do, but I'm gonna get really crude dimensions on the Type R seat. So at the hip point, the rear mounting point, it is what I can tell roughly 41 centimeters, 410 millimeters. And at the front mounting point, we are looking at roughly 42 centimeters or 420 to 422 millimeters. That is for the authentic Type R seat. For the ABE seat, I'm sure the dimensions are out on the web, so we'll see how close I get to those, whatever those are. It's about 430 millimeters or 43 centimeters. I take that back. About 420 millimeters. And for the front mounting point, we're looking at about 425, 42.5 centimeters, 425 millimeters or so, give or take 2 or 3 millimeters. So again, roughly the same dimensions from the OEM Type R seat to the ABE seat. I wish I could measure the back angle. I don't have a reliable angle gauge, so I'm not going to even attempt that. But yeah, as I was saying, I think the ABE, especially with the Studio 60 OEM fabric, is going to be your best bet for an OEM Type R style seat, minus the backrest, the back fabric material, of course. If you want that blingy carbon Kevlar, you're either going to have to get OEM or get a Mita premium seat or get a Downforce seat if you can find one. But for the cost, I think the authentic Recaro ABE kind of hits the spot for, you know, being authentic Recaro, being safety tested, and being the exact dimensions or close dimensions to an OEM Type R seat for a fraction of the cost. If you're looking for something on even more of a budget, go for the Mita seat. The Mita premium seat is going to cost you more than an ABE with reupholstered fabric. I believe the Mita premium seats, I'll put the price on screen right now. I think it's close to $4,000, around there, give or take. And I'm not sure what the safety test is on those, but those seats should be very, very nice. I haven't seen one, so I don't have one here for comparison. I think the ABE right in the middle here is the best of both worlds, and probably will be available as well into the future, even with or without the Studio 60 fabric. So those are your options for now. I think that will do it for this part of the comparison. All right, continuing the comparison, I have the OEM power rails mounted up to the Type R seat. I do not have it fully assembled yet. I'm not going to do that because it's just not necessary for this right now. I would have to put that rod in between the two motors right there. And I'm not going to do that just so I can move the seat backwards. You know, I'm not going to fully mount it anyway. So I'm going to remove my passenger seat. I'm going to put this seat in there, lay it in there. It's going to be a little forward than what, you know, it would be normally if you're sitting passenger, but it's going to give me a little bit of comparison. I sit forward anyway because I'm short, so maybe it'll be a direct comparison in that respect, but I wanted to compare the height, the back angles. So I think the seat actually sits pretty reclined. So it looks like pretty similar in recline to how I have my passenger seat. I prefer my driver's seat a little bit more upright. So I'm gonna do a quick comparison. I'm gonna sit in this passenger seat real quick and then mount the Type R seat and show you guys the difference. All right, I'm gonna get in the seat. I did move my seat forward a little bit to try to simulate the Type R seat, because even though the seat rails do sit pretty flat, sometimes seat rails in cars tend to have an upward slope. So as you move the seat forward, it kind of tends to move the seat upwards as well. So just to kind of make things as even as possible, I move the seat forward a little bit. All right. So what I'm going to try to do is put a piece of cardboard on my lap and measure the difference. So Actually, it sits higher than the console, my legs. So I'm going to try to put my legs all the way down. I can't really put my leg all the way down, and move the seat a little bit back. So my thighs all the way down on the seat cushion. And I'm going to measure, you can't see it, but there's an indent in the carpet. So it's about 1.5 centimeters. In this position, I think from what I remember, comparing these seats to OEM, they were just barely lower than OEM seats. I heard that the Type R seats sit slightly higher than OEM seats. So this being lower than OEM seats, Type R possibly being higher, there should be a noticeable difference. So, but we will see. Right now, of course, I have lots of head clearance. I'm short, I'm 5'6". So yeah, let's go ahead and try in the Type R seats. So I'm not going to bolt them down. I'm going to just set them here in place and then try it out. Oh yeah, definitely higher. Can tell right away. All right, I am sitting a little bit further back than I thought I would be, so. But, oh wow. So put my legs all the way down on the cushions. And we're at about 5 centimeters. So I said 1.5 centimeters minus 5, so that's 3.5 centimeters difference. So these seats sit 3.5 centimeters higher than my seats currently. And I'll have to go back and review my other video. I'll put it on the screen right now with how much higher I thought, or how much lower I thought my seats sat than the OEM seats. And so it'll be less of a difference if you're going, of course, from OEM to Type R seats. But I think 3.5 centimeters definitely, I think it is probably higher than OEM. Either higher or very close to OEM, because yeah, now my hat's hitting the headliner. And probably from your angle, you should be able to see a difference. I will try to, maybe if I can, try to overlay images, screenshots of me sitting in my bridge seat versus the Type R seat. But yeah, definitely a little bit higher. For short people, not bad. Like I could potentially drive like this, but for anyone, any normal height Americans, you're not gonna like how high these seats sit. So I do think that Eugene might possibly use aftermarket seat rails. So that might probably get him to sit a little bit lower, and probably be more ideal for other people as well. All right, and comparing the seats outside of the car. Sorry, again, I don't have OEM seats here to compare for you all, but you can make some general judgments or assumptions based on my seat compared to the OEM seat in the install video for this seat. I'll try to put some on screen if I come up with any analysis. But basically, the seats with the seat rails both on the ground, and the mounting holes look just about the same height. So the headrests are just about the same height at this back angle for the Stradia. But where you can really see the difference is where the front cushion sets your thighs. So you can also see here on the Stradias that the bottom frame of the seat sits a lot lower than this the bucket seat of the Type R seat. So that, of course, along with the thickness of the cushion, you can option thinner cushions on the Stradia. This is the normal cushion, so you can option a thinner one and get your legs sitting even lower. But you can see the difference in how high your legs are gonna sit, and then your butt. It's harder to show on camera. You can kind of see it a little bit, that butt is higher than that. There's no real good way for me to show you guys on camera, but you're gonna have to take my word from it. You saw the measurements. This is a good 3.5 centimeter difference with my thighs. So of course that has to do more with these cushions. And these cushions are also very thick, which is a very common for pole positions in general. But my head was also higher, so it's not just the cushion, it's also the positioning of where your butt is. But yeah, I mean, I wish I had this seat still. I would gladly take that seat any day, with the downsides, especially since I'm short and they're not such big downsides. But of course, that seat's out of my realm of not in my bank account. Yeah, and those seats just look amazing. So you can't go wrong with Type R seats. But I think probably, the Type R seat with an aftermarket rail that gets you to sit, an inch or two lower, that would be ideal for sure. So excited to see Eugene get these mounted up in his car, and the difference that an aftermarket rail would probably make on these. So yeah, I think that's the end of this video. Hope you guys learned a little bit about Type R seats, the other options that you can have if you can't afford an OEM Type R seat, like most of us cannot. And then just otherwise learn something. I enjoyed watching the video and seeing Type R goodness, Type R eye candy on camera, which is pretty rare to see in general. So I think that's it. So thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.